was. So I wasn't raised in any um, church, any type of religion or spirituality, and that was such a great grounding, that creation and the elements. So
Mm,
ever since then, I've been very, very close to the elements, and
mm.
with that comes very mystical energies, incredible teachers that have taught me many, many, many things, even as a kid.
This is Dale Cross, and welcome to another episode of the Soul Inspire podcast. This is the audio video podcast that features spiritually awakening souls to help inspire you on your own soul journey. On this episode, I'm really excited to have a good friend of mine. I recently made a friend with him. I feel like I've known him all my life. His name is Reverend Ned. Reverend Ned, some people refer to him as the old hermit on the hill. Maybe I'll let him unpack that for you, what that means. He has taught on my favorite topic, pure love. And that is what this channel is all about. It's really about pure love. He's been teaching on this topic for over 41 years. He's been part of Lakota ceremonies for 3 decades and has facilitated earth ceremonies for a very long time. He managed international graduate housing programs for over 3 decades, meeting beautiful souls from 177 countries. Now, his near-death experience in 2018 was the Reverend's entrance into the World Wide Web, which expanded his sharing on pure love. And in 2021, he had a stroke, and he'll share a bit about that and what a catalyst that was for him. That was a huge transformer for sharing more in depth on pure love after a higher visitor spent time with him in his 13-day hospital stay. Rev believes every breath and every step is sacred. Rev teaches we are eternal beings with cosmic purposes and potential. I love it, and I certainly love him, and I know you will as well. Rev Ned, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale, for having me. It's such a sacred honor to be here. And our conversations are always amazing. So thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you so much. We're very fortunate to have you here because I know you're going to share some amazing wisdom. So, Reverend, I'm going to kick things off to ask you what I ask all guests, and that is, did you have any kind of spiritual background growing up? And tell us a little bit about your childhood as far as
Okay.
spirituality goes.
I'd be glad to. Pure love, as we know, has no strings attached, no conditions have to be met. And I experienced that as a kid in the woods. Um, we moved when I was 16. So when I was a little kid, we had a tree called Chip and Dale had been burnt out by fire, and we could climb inside of it and go all the way up to the top of the tree. And that started me thinking and feeling and sensing creation, the creator. And then when we moved, when I was 16, I found back in the woods a pond. I'd go there all the time. Actually, one of our first dates with my
Hi, this is Dale Cross of Soul Inspire TV, and I want to invite you to my free webinar, Activate Your 5D Heart in the 3D. Are you ready to discover how to bring heaven down to earth and live in a bliss-filled reality of joy in the midst of collective chaos? Learn how to effectively shift from a 3D mind-based reality of struggling, striving, battle between light and dark. Learn how to shift from that to a 5D heart-based reality of effortlessness, joy, and unconditional love. This webinar will literally transform your life because I'm going to help you to learn how to live in alignment with your true nature of joy. And that's what's going to get you through all the chaos. So go ahead, click on the link in the description below this video, head on over to dalecross.net and click on the free webinar, Activate Your 5D Heart in the 3D. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Peace and blessings to you.
Wife, I took her back. I call it Walden Pond because of Henry David Thoreau. And there I started learning little about what pure love was. So I wasn't raised in any um, church, any type of religion or spirituality, and that was such a great grounding, that creation and the elements. So
Mm,
ever since then, I've been very, very close to the elements and
mm,
with that comes very mystical energies, incredible teachers that have taught me many, many, many things, even as a kid. And as we know, the institutions that are around us, they do not move and flow in pure love.
no.
And being around, I've taught on pure love back in the day, like 43 different denominations. And when
Mm,
you're on the lectern, up on the stage, the altar, whatever you want to call it, you can see people's energies. You can read it. And
mhm.
pure love was not, this is just a truth I'm sharing in love. It
Yep.
wasn't welcomed, pure love, because we know
Interesting.
perfect love cast out fear.
Yes.
And and you mentioned it for 3 decades, 3.5 decades, I managed and created programs for the international people at the local college. And they taught me so much about pure love, all these faiths,
Mm, hmm.
spiritualities.
Hmm.
I really believe I've said it back in the day. Maybe you've said it, Dale, and some of you beautiful people watching and listening, that I'm more spiritual than I am religious, right?
Right.
A lot of us have said that, but there's something in pure love that takes me even beyond that, because most people use the word spiritual, they're tied into 3D energies when they utilize that word. But
Yep.
once on campus, I had an atheist communist group back in the 80s invite me. They
Hmm.
saw me. Some of them lived in the apartment complex. They were international students, some were Americans. And the ones that lived in the complex would see me daily. And they said, "You're really weird. We want you to come talk to our group because you're always radiating light." They were some of the most loving, they gifted me some of the most loving, beautiful people of that talk. They were amazing.
Hmm.
And which shows that pure love creates and expands for me amazing opportunities. Pure love opens doors. I can even say portals. It creates compassion. It creates
Hmm.
tranquility, warmth. Um, And it does. I've seen it open so many doors. One just happened last night. Somebody lost their adult child, and four of us were doing some energy work online.
Okay.
And the pure love was just, you could see it manifesting. People were
Mm,
glowing. There's just four of us. The fifth
hmm.
person who lost the adult son could not make it. So
Mm.
what I'm saying is pure love stirs mystical energies up for me every day.
Okay.
Every day. And
Hmm.
another thing pure love does is cleansing. It's very cleansing for me. My
Mm.
mental thoughts, my heart thoughts, and it prepares me every day. As you've read, that's my focus of my teaching. Every breath is sacred, and every step is so, so sacred.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so you weren't raised. I love what you said. You had no real like foundational background, like as far as a religion or anything, but you fell in love with the elements and the elements spoke to you. And it seems like that's, I don't know you very well, but what I'm picking up from you is that this is a theme of your whole life, that the earth energy and the elements are so integral to your spiritual journey, maybe more
Yes.
than other people. At least you recognize it more than other people. I just, well, I could cry. I don't know. There's something,
Oh,
there's something really. Yeah, there's something really beautiful about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of speechless here. I'm the interviewer, speechless, in a good way. I think that's so beautiful. Can you tell us? So when we're referring to the elements, are we talking about fairies, gnomes, and this type of this? I see behind you there. I just love this. I don't know, this set that you've got.
Yes.
Everybody's got to check out his YouTube channel. We're gonna put what's the name of your YouTube? I'm a subscriber. Rev Ned Connector or something? What's it
It's
called?
one is Reverend Ned Cosmic Interconnections, and the Facebook page is the Old Hermit on the Hill,
Okay, the old hermit
and
on the hill.
and the YouTube is Rev Ned Cosmic Interconnections on YouTube.
Uh, okay.
Um, One of the things I feel led to share this.
Okay, go ahead.
I used to be a huge Civil War buff.
Okay.
Strategies, visit the battlefields. I knew all that stuff. How men, and I was always very close to this guy named Stonewall Jackson, General Stonewall Jackson. And
Mm-hmm.
people still come to learn strategy, how he used the Shenandoah Mountains, which we visited so many times besides these battlefields. So this was in
Mm-hmm.
1983. It was where the Battle of Chancellorsville happened. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where General Jackson went out in front of his men without telling him, and he got shot. They had to remove his arm, and he got pneumonia. This is the
Mm-hmm.
wonderful part. About a half a mile from the house that he died in, we were staying, the wife and I, and our almost 2-year-old son, in a tent in a
Mm-hmm.
KOA campground.
Okay.
And I was reading a secular book about Stonewall Jackson. And all of a sudden, I just felt, I want what he has. I feel this love, because he
Mm.
died 2 years into the war, and
Okay.
all of a sudden these chains went with that pure love went like 2 3 inch lengths, and I haven't been
Really?
I haven't been the same. And in
From that
that,
one experience.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
that was kind of like like a lot of people have near death experience. It's so transforming in their life.
Yeah.
That happened that night at a picnic table by Coleman Lantern. And then not shortly
Mm-hmm.
after that, I was involved in a prayer group with men and women, and this very
Mm-hmm.
wealthy lady came up to me, and she was a sweetie pie. And she says, "I have a pile of money, and I wanted to send you somewhere like where
Huh.
you can study more pure love." So she sent me to a school in Florida for 2 weeks, and day and night, we looked at pure love. We would just scratch the surface in 2 weeks. And she paid for the airplane to get down there and back and give the people a lot of
Yep.
money. It was amazing. And something else that's popping in.
Mm-hmm.
Our son-in-law, his name's Matt. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was taking out one of our graduate students, George. He's from Africa. I want to say he's from Ghana. And he got his master's in geology. And I took him out and he started bawling and crying because he hadn't eaten in a restaurant in America since his time here. They
Mm-hmm.
make small stipends, geology students. So he would send his money home and not eat, do without. A lot of
Yeah.
international students do that. And
Mm-hmm.
just loving on him, and they've taught me so much about love. So I get a phone call from our son-in-law. His grandmother is dying in ICU in the local hospital. And
Yep.
she's been very mean to everybody. She wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
come to the wedding of Matt and our daughter Hannah, which I did. Just mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I prepared myself, put a bubble around me, went into the ICU room because I knew what I was going to expect. I half laid down. She was in a coma, and I
Mm-hmm.
started telling her how special she is. I was filling her with pure love. And you could
Oh my
see, Dale, I'm getting excited. You could see the pure
God.
love cleansing her right then and there. And
Wow.
I could feel her
It's
energy
amazing.
turned dark to light. Beautiful. And she started
Okay.
smiling. And two of her daughters that were there, Matt's mom, said, "We've never seen our mom like this. We've never seen our mom." And, but I was
Yeah, of
putting
course.
energy of pure love, not just with
Yep.
my voice, because our breath is so sacred when you're speaking. It
Yes.
was, I was touching her. I had her hands like that, holding on
Okay.
to her.
Yeah.
And the more of the pure love that went in her, the more she shined. She was like glowing around her.
Her face was glow, or her whole aura
Yes,
was, the
yes.
face was glowing. Yeah.
It blew her two daughters away.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
power of pure love. When I tried to get away from her, she's in a coma. And I've prayed with lots of people in comas and when I used to do hospitals.
Mm.
I couldn't, she wouldn't let go. She was still in a coma. She wouldn't let
Mm.
go of
Let go
my
of your hand?
hand.
Ah,
Yes. And
okay.
within 2 or 3 hours, she passed with a smile on her face. This is
Ah,
the
wow.
power
With this.
of pure love, of pure love. There was
Yeah.
our our son Jordan. We get a call one night. I'm in the shower. The wife runs
Mm-hmm.
in. Our son had been in an accident
Mm.
and he had 5% chance to make it. So
Mm-hmm.
we went to the hospital. There's
Hmm.
blood everywhere
Yep.
in his room. And so I went out to the Creator in pure love, try to cleanse myself first so I can
Mm-hmm.
send energies to the doctors and the nurses. And
Mm-hmm.
it was pure love. Came back in, and his whole rhythm started changing
Mm.
to live, to beat the
Okay.
5%, to the 10%, to 20, to 100%. That was a pure love. When you think your son, your middle child is
Mm.
passing, and then
Yeah.
that happens, and it was pure love. It was just connecting and letting this pure love flow. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Is
Oh my
okay
gosh.
now?
Yes,
He's
he had his hip repaired,
oh,
shoulder
okay.
repaired because he landed
Yeah.
on blacktop. So he didn't
What
land on
what
the grass. He fell on the blacktop and
oh.
cut himself
Uh-huh.
through the window. But anyway,
Mm.
that was an amazing experience
Yeah.
of pure love. What
Yeah.
I gotta share this with you. Since
Okay, go for
you
it.
the one night we had a sweat lodge and I helped my friend um, Uncle Dave take care, build the lodge, the sacred fire, the altar, and all of those kinds of things. But
Mm-hmm.
preparing, I'd say, pure love. Pure love is going to come into this lodge tonight. Pure love is going to come into this lodge. And so when we were in there, guess what came in the lodge? Because when you're in your Lakota sweat lodge, you're like in the womb of the Earth Mother and the
Okay.
cosmos. Also, this
Is
is
that
how
right?
Grandpa Foolscrows teaches. So
Mm-hmm.
I go in each time with that, and you
Mm-hmm.
could feel the pure love come. And it was so strong, we had to take a break and go out till it was so high level, pure love. And
Wow.
it's
So the
just
body could barely handle it. You had to go out for a
correct,
break. Wow. Okay.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
Very,
The
very
human.
powerful.
Yeah. 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 And what showed up? Because you said something showed up, or you're just saying the
It,
pure love showed up. Was
the
that what
pure
you meant?
love, the energy
That's a
of pure love
yeah. That's
came. It
yeah.
was it was amazing. In
Uh-huh.
in September of was it 2000, 2020, 2021? It was in September. I was
Mm-hmm.
asked to do an opening ceremony for a healing land ceremony at a
Uh-huh.
place we call Meadow Walkers, and it was in this meadow.
Uh-huh.
And as you can probably tell, Rev can be long-winded.
No, that's okay.
And I did about a 30-minute, 35-minute opening. As soon as I
Mm-hmm.
closed and handed over to the person that was facilitating this particular ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
all we heard was hundreds of wings flapping behind us of
Mm.
pure love. Pure love.
Uh-huh.
It
Mm-hmm.
was, and it's like, again, for me, for Rev, the pure love, the old hermit here, pure love opens doors. It invites other entities, other energies that are so loving and so caring.
Right. Yep. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Did you want to so let's I want to know more about so it sounds like for many, many years you were teaching pure love. So usually when people have a near-death experience, I mean, I've interviewed different people on this channel, and I've listened to other channels with these, and one thing that's in common is quite often that was a wake up call for that individual. But your case is unique, isn't it? Because you had a near death experience, but you're already awake. Can you share a little bit about that, please? Your near death experience, and you were already teaching for what, 30 years?
36 years
36 years you're already
before that
teaching
happened.
pure love, is that right?
Yes, yes.
And then you had a near death experience. What happened with that?
Well, a year and a half before the near death experience,
Okay,
I,
go there.
I became friends with a very, I would call him, um, he was a senior, but an elder. And he was a Franciscan monk and had the little yarmulke a lot of the Franciscan monks wore back in the day.
Okay.
And I had this conversation with him, Dale. And whenever he would touch me to emphasize his point, pure love with it made that sound like cracking energy coming
Mm,
into the atmosphere.
wow.
And he touched his heart. It was beautiful. I could spend a whole show just talking about that. But he touched it, he patted his heart,
Yeah.
and then he patted me and he says, I am preparing to die. You need to prepare to die. And it was
Mm,
done. He delivered the pure love again with the breath of words. He
mm-hmm.
delivered the pure love with his touch.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks after that, he crossed over. So it
Mm.
gave me a year and a half to think. I thought what he meant that I was going to just check out, not come back.
Oh, okay.
We went and changed the will and did all. A lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
thought Rev was a little, you know,
Cuckoo.
a little crazy. Yeah, a little. I like that little cuckoo in the head. And many things led up to that day of November 29th, 2018, in
Okay.
my near death experience. So I'm sitting at the table working on the computer for
Yeah.
teaching. Most of my teaching has been live in front of people or small venues, classroom
Mm-hmm.
settings, that kind of thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm in there working on a teaching, and all of a sudden, gnomes, five gnomes, pop in. No doorbell, no knocking on the back because the back door was like 2 feet away from me. And
They
they shared
disappeared.
with me. This is what they shared. They said
Mm-hmm.
the dark church spirits, and I knew what he meant when they said this, desire to destroy you. And
Okay.
so we went out to eat at Bob Evans. This was like 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock. We went to eat. We got there about 2 o'clock at Bob Evans in a little
Mm-hmm.
college town we live in.
Mm-hmm.
We live out from it, but and that's where everything happened. We
Okay.
hadn't got our food yet. I had a little coleslaw, coffee, and some crackers, and that's all I had eaten. And I used to have a swallowing disorder, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife has done the Heimlich when we've been out eating. So that's what
Mm.
everybody thought it was. It was like I got up and, do this, thinking
Right.
I can't breathe. And the wife, then I passed out, landed on the
Mm-hmm.
ground. I'm still alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the wife tries the Heimlich. She's a nurse of 44 and a half years. The
Mm.
assistant managers tries it. And then I wake up for a little bit and there's these dark
Mm.
shoes. And I'm told that that's a police officer. And he tried doing it.
Mm.
And when I was laying there and they were putting me on the stretcher, I thought, I know these energies. I know this. This is an entity. Because it
Mm-hmm.
felt like when I fell, like I was being pushed down by a
All right.
powerful thought. So that's why I hit the floor. So they took me out in the life squad, and I guess I was there 15 minutes. They hooked me up, they paddled me. The wife was in the going crazy in the parking lot because the squad wasn't
Mm-hmm.
moving. They were trying to figure out, is it my heart? I would go to a different hospital. If it's something else, they'll take me to the local hospital. So when
Mm.
I had a shirt just like this, brand new, first time I ever wore it, and they cut it off, and I was in and out, and they put the electrodes on. They when they paddled me, it was
Mm-hmm.
like I left. kind of funny. You die in the back of a life squad, and I and I started going, and I ended up in a famous Lakota holy man, Grandpa Foolscrow, who
Uh-huh.
passed on a long time ago. Very, very sacred holy man.
Mm-hmm.
And because I would go visit him spiritually. So that's the first place and I went and had a regular conversation with this wise elder. And then I went in his front door and he opened the back door. And the next thing I know, I walked through and I was in this, I call it the bridge, the tunnel. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, the energy. Dale, I can't whistle here in 3D. I was
Yeah.
whistling. I had my hands in my pocket, and as soon as I came up to because the directions are very important to me. When I came up
Yeah.
to the east side, and I knew I had to walk west towards this glorious, beautiful lights.
Yeah.
Guess who was up
Yeah.
there? My five gnome buddies that were there that morning were there
Oh,
holding
okay.
hands in what we call a heyoka. They were reversing, walking in a counterclockwise direction, reversing those energies. And it's like,
Oh, okay.
so I got my hands in my pocket and I'm whistling. I'm, I'm like home. I didn't even think about my family, to be honest with you. Then all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden, lights appeared on the south wall, and they were ancestors that are with me during ceremony. Many people have seen them smiling.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
This Father Tom that I've referred to, he was up
Mm.
there smiling
Oh.
on
Mm-hmm.
this wall. And I got to the point, and this beautiful voice, amazing voice, said, "One more step, and you will not return to your body."
Mm.
And when I turned it, because I kept turning around looking for the little ones and the people on the ancestors and Father Tom on the wall. And all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, my Navajo friend who's living down on Earth pops up there in a cartoon form and says, "Get your hiney back here." And I look at this and it's so inviting, this pure, it's amazing. Something I've taught on for
Mm-hmm.
all those years. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
want that. I want that. I want the fullness thereof of it. But as soon as
Right.
I turned around and stepped back to go towards the gnomes and towards my Navajo friend Aaron, I entered my body. And what's kind of funny, I thought I was in a coffin. I was in this
Oh.
machine that was doing checking my brain out.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
and I said, God, where am I? And the sweet
Mm-hmm.
little female voice says, "Here at McCullough Hospital." And that's when I came back, I could hardly
Mm.
speak, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do any of those kinds of things. But that was
Mm-hmm.
the day of the near death experience. Very, very mystical.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it opened more and more doors for me eventually because I was not an internet person till then.
Oh,
Till then,
okay.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was
th-
2018.
that was November 29th, 2018. Yes, very much
Wow,
so.
interesting. You were not an internet person yet in 2018. This is very
Th-
interesting. I think a lot of people got into it back in 1995 or something.
because I did everything. I'd write everything out in hand. All my
Right, right.
teachings I would do,
Yeah.
and it was the Facebook says I've been on a long time, but my our kids created that years ago.
Oh, okay.
I never got on
Yes.
it. But
Yeah.
so that was
Uh,
that particular day. It
mm-hmm.
was I hope I never have to put my wife through what I put her through that day.
Mm, mm,
It
hmm.
was she,
Intense.
yes, it was very intense for her and for the kids. You know, they were all married and had all the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one time I got a couple personal things I'll share, but
Sure.
I was at a Sundance. It's a Lakota ceremony. It's not open to the public.
Okay.
And we were there for several days before Sundance started, preparing everything, creating the gates and the dance arena. And
Mm-hmm.
was help carrying the sacred tree that people are attached to. And so we call it Tree Day. And we were
Okay.
in, you could say, an old reservation pickup truck and trailer that was not in very good shape. So I had the whole end of one of the trees. Back then I was very, very strong. And
Mm-hmm.
I was carrying it. And when I stepped in, I fell through the floorboard of the trailer. And I knew I messed up my knee. I knew it. But, I
Mm-hmm.
dug down tough and I took it down to the where it needed to be put in the earth with ceremony. And I think it was the following day, Dale. So we're in South Dakota. It
Yeah.
starts hailing. This big wind comes. Pots and pans on people's tents are moving, and some of the tents were starting to fly down. So I get up there and check everybody's tents that's in our group from Ohio and
Mm-hmm.
Michigan. And the hail was building up. I had a little pup tent. The hail
Mm-hmm.
was building up, and this voice says, "Eat it, eat it." So I took
Mm.
I mean, there was so much hail, I just did like this, put it in my mouth, ate it. It tastes like candy. It was very heavenly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got down back to where they were dancing, my knee was healed, very healed. It was
Wow.
pure love. Again, water, elements, hail, the wind, very, very healing for Rev.
Man,
It was amazing, and people
fantastic.
knew that. A lot of people knew that I had hurt my knee, and they saw how I was walking. They were touched too.
Oh yeah, no kidding. So now, not only had you had a near-death experience, but you had a stroke. That's a separate thing, is it not?
Yes, yes,
Okay, let's go into that. So flash forward, right? So the near-death experience was in 2018. When did you have the stroke and how did that all come about? That was in 2021, was it not?
correct. Very good. July 7th, and in the spring of that year, I asked the Creator, Source, and all creation. I want to go
Mm-hmm.
even deeper into pure love. I want to be expanded more in pure love,
Mm-hmm.
and that happened on July 7th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened earlier in the day. My wife, again, is a nurse for 44 and she knew I was just not Rev Ned. Okay. And when we came to eat dinner, she knew I was in and out, like bobbling and doing this. And she says, "Get ready. I think you have a stroke."
Oh, I see.
So
Mm-hmm.
she started running around the house. We have horses. We had a cat at the time,
Mm-hmm.
dogs. She knew I wasn't coming home right away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if we had time, it's very comical because I didn't know how to put underwear on. Your mom always tells you have clean
Yeah.
underwear when you go to the hospital.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she did that, and she said put a new shirt on, t-shirt on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I didn't do that. And
Okay.
and it was time for me to walk out. I could walk out on my own, but it was like, where am I? I didn't know where I was at. While she was running around
Mm-hmm.
taking care of the animals, getting my clothes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the hospital, I didn't know my family. I
Right.
didn't know what a
Wow.
clock was. I didn't know. They knew
Mm.
I didn't know how to I had to be retrained taking a shower, how to
Mm-hmm.
text, how to
Mm.
write, how to speak.
Right.
And when I got there and they were changing me into the gown, I did put the clean underwear on. But I didn't take
Okay.
the old ones off.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that was that day. But before they took me to the hospital, right beyond this window, we have a brick path. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
my nemesis, who is a very dark entity by some people's standards, had picked me up, threw me down twice. I actually cracked a rock with my head, my son found. And on the
Mm.
third time, he had me in his arms, and a light being from very high density. Some people say an angel had energy bands back here, not the
Mm.
wings like we heard at the ceremony in the meadow. And as
Mm.
soon as that entity appeared, the other one, this my nemesis, left.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pure love. it was light. It was pure love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in a hospital for 13 days. And about 4 days, 5 days before they released me, and I wasn't doing well at all with any of my therapy. I'm on the fifth floor looking north and west of this hospital, tallest building. So I can see it's open skies like where we're sitting here on the hill, open skies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to a lady on the YouTube that's just singing this. It sounds like an earth angel singing these incredible songs, these divine songs.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I hear this on the window and I look out and I knew it was pure love. It was an entity coming in as a some form of plant from somewhere else.
Hmm.
And I invited this entity in of pure love, stayed for an hour, just working on me, teaching me about pure love. And then as soon as this entity left, I invited my nemesis, some would say a dark being, into the room. And I loved on this person. And I thanked this person, this dark entity, for being a teacher, which you and I have talked about a couple of times.
Mm.
Being a
Mm-hmm.
teacher, and as
Right.
this entity has never come back to do anything bad thing. But what's neat, this love entity put this fragrance, put this energy in the hospital room, and it stayed.
A
And it was
fragrance.
a fragrance. And
That's interesting.
I have to share this. The chaplain, who was very awesome to me, came in the next morning just to check and wanted to pray with me. He
Mm-hmm.
could not feel it. Okay.
Oh.
He couldn't
Okay.
feel it. My doctor is a practicing Hindu from India. I can't say her name in her language, but I call her Dr. Golden, which is it means
Okay.
gold in English.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
came in when he was still there and she started crying. She says, "What is this energy I feel and sense?" I said, "It's
Huh.
pure love from God." She started
Right.
bawling and every day she would come in, she would cry. So the
So she was
nurses and
sensitive to the
very,
energy.
very connected as a
But you said
Hindu.
the other doctor, it's interesting though. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
that this other doctor you said didn't notice anything, correct?
Correct. Some doctors did, some doctors didn't. Some nurses did, some nurses didn't.
So
It was
there's
very
different
interesting to
different levels of sensitivity,
exactly,
and
exactly.
I would guess I'm kind of going out on a hunch here, but you probably know what I'm going to say. You and I had a conversation before we started the podcast, just to let people in on it a little bit. And we talked about how there's left brain people that tend to be very left brain, be very rational minded, are perhaps less sensitive to the energies of the heart.
Hmm.
And I would suggest maybe that doctor that didn't register anything was probably a very rationally minded person, so not a match to that. But this other lady
That's true.
was very maybe right brained. Well, which women tend to be more right brained,
Correct.
do they not? So that's
Yes.
could be that too.
So, so it was an interesting to see who could connect with those
Yeah.
loving, those loving energies. And
Yeah.
from that moment on, I started to get better. I started to know how to floss, how to take shower, because I had all
Oh.
these different therapies. And the
Mm.
doctor wrote in my charts, miracle, after that visitation. The nurse came running back and said, he put miracle, he put miracle. And it's also in my charts that I had a near death experience,
Oh, okay.
which
It's in
is
the charts.
which is unusual. You
Yeah.
know, they didn't
In
think
the
I was,
same medical
yeah,
charts.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It was just
Interesting.
um, amazing. There's I want to give an example of how cleansing and opening doors pure love is. There was a
Okay.
gentleman at the university. He was the head of the plumbing shop. I've known him for years and years and years. And his name was Howard. Whenever I'd be in his presence, he worked for a whole different group, physical facilities, and I was with dining and um, housing. And every time I'd be around him, especially with groups around, he'd cut me and judge me, cut me and judge me. Pure love isn't well is accepted by many people. We talked about
I
the
noticed
institutions,
I
but a lot
noticed
of
that.
people aren't into pure love.
That's right.
So This happened for years. Cut me, judge me, cut me. And I
Hmm.
just kept my mouth shut because I kept hearing there'll be an opportunity. There'll be an
Hmm.
opportunity.
Interesting.
Years later, his
Hmm.
stepfather, who he was much closer to than his own dad, crossed over.
Okay.
What an, I was told, here's your door of opportunity, your portal. So I wrote him a love letter and a card and sent it to him. You know, many men don't want to say, I'm sorry. A lot of people don't, but men, and he was a Harley guy and, you know, the beard and
Hmm.
lifted weights like I used to at one time do the weights. And he
Hmm.
came down very soon after he received that card. And he was
Hmm.
starting to get teary eyed, but he never said, I'm sorry. And he brought me a
Okay.
gift. He brought me a gift.
Oh, I brought you a gift though.
And after that, every time he would see me, say in Walmart or out somewhere, he'd
Yeah.
come up and hug me. This, this is what pure love can do.
Yes.
This cleansing, this transformation, and it
Ah,
expanded to him.
I love it.
And
Yeah, that is great.
I have a close family member. The same thing happened. He was going through a bad divorce, and I would not go to court and fib because we're talking a great amount of money. Because I was there this
Uh-huh.
particular day, I was supposed to go to court, and
Mm,
we told him and his wife, "Don't get us involved. We don't want to be involved in here. We'll support
right.
you from behind the scenes," which we did.
Hmm.
And I called up his lawyer. I said, "You'll lose. You're going to lose this case because I will tell the truth." So she got me off the docket, and for 10 years this person threatened to my relative to destroy me.
Wow.
And this
Hmm.
person had the capability to do that. So
Hmm.
initially, I wrote a multi page love letter, sent it to this person, never opened it, got it back in the mail. And for 10 years, just continued to pray and put that wonderful pure love bubble around me that never
Yeah.
would happen.
Right.
And we were going to a wedding, a family wedding, and we pulled in 10 years later, we pulled into the parking lot at the exact same time from two different ways.
Mm.
And the pure love, just forgiving, loving. And
Yep.
I want to take this off. This bracelet he gifted with me
Oh,
about 4 years ago during the sea
okay.
stuff. And I wear it every day because this is reminds me the power. I want to start crying. The power
Yeah.
of pure love, and now we're closer than we've ever been.
I love it.
It wouldn't have turned
This
out
is,
if it wasn't utilizing the pure
yeah.
love. And there's
Oh,
so many stories like that, but those are the two that have stuck out the most about pure love.
ah, I had an experience with this when I was a child. There was this one, I was always the, what do you call it? The runt, the smallest kid in the school. Wasn't athletic, was always the one picked last, and received kind of a relentless bullying from one particular individual. Um, but I did something unique. I went home and I prayed to God for this individual, and I said, I pray that this person will have a blessed life. Yeah, I was like, I don't know, very, very young when I did this, right? But the bullying was so relentless. I would didn't want to go to school, and my dad would be, no, you got to go to school. If you want to get a job someday, you got to go to school. All this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to go to school because I didn't want to face this bullying. But I had to go. I'd come home. My cat was my only friend. I think I had one friend in elementary school, plus my cat. My cat just loved on me. That was unconditional love from this cat. I'll never forget it.
Yes.
It was a mixed Persian and tabby cross. It's a very, very beautiful cat. It used to jump into my bed in the morning and put its nose in
Eh,
my ear and purr, waking me, comforting me, waking me up. I remember one
Wow.
occasion where I did that. And so it would comfort me from the bullying. But I decided one day, because I was crying a lot about this bully, but I never ever felt hatred or revenge. I've never really understood these. I guess I came in, I already dealt with that in another life, I guess, because I just didn't know how to hate this guy. I just love this guy. But of course, I was very distressed by the way he was treating me. So I just had the idea to pray for the guy. So I prayed to God and I prayed that he would be blessed. I sent him love and I pray he'll have a good life. Now, something magical happened when I did that. You can guess. I had a dream that night. I usually don't have this kind of dream. This is very rare. But when I was a child, this one dream is very distinctive. And in the dream, he's my friend. I was like, wow, he's my friend. He's not a bully. He's my friend. And so I was sleeping, and then I woke up and I felt tremendously sad because I thought, oh, it was just a dream. Well, something magical happened because that dream became a reality. That day I went to school. I remember they were kicking, I think they were kicking the soccer ball around. I kicked it too far. It came to me. They said, hey, you want to play? After that, his behavior to me was completely different. Suddenly, I was his good friend.
Wow.
Now, it's
That's
interesting
beautiful.
because I didn't stand up to him in the physical realm. I didn't fight back. I didn't stand up to him. I sent him love. So I agree with you. Pure love, which is what I had for this guy, is the most powerful thing. So from
Thank
that day forward, treated me good.
That's awesome. Thank you
He acted
for sharing
as
that.
if it never happened. Like he acted as, and I never brought it up either. I never said, hey, why did you used to bully me? I never brought that up. Uh, but now he still talked about me behind my back, but I didn't care. I just, to my face, he was kind. So who cares about the
Oh,
behind my back stuff? So that was beautiful. I'll always remember this. This was, I guess I got the idea to pray because I was raised very religious. I'm no longer, I stopped being religious. I'm now spiritual, what you would call spiritual. But at that time I was very religious. So that was a positive aspect of the religiousness to send the love to this guy. So that's why I wanted you on this show because I resonate completely with the pure love, what you just said. It works.
it does. Thank you for sharing that. While you
You're
were
welcome.
while you were speaking, I saw we had some horse friends
Mm-hmm.
that bought a house, and another horse friend that committed suicide and tried to start his house on fire.
Mm.
It was a cowboy cabin built here in
Mm-hmm.
Ohio. It should have been like in Colorado. I mean, everything was cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
Even the stove and refrigerator, special order.
Mm-hmm.
So they were buying this house, okay, and they
Yeah.
wanted to cleanse. I referred to Uncle Dave earlier. Was
Mm-hmm.
his wife Aunt Angie and I have done lots of cleansing of different places. So they
Okay.
asked if we could come and cleanse the house of those energies where the guy died, where he started catching on fire. So we did. I did
Mm-hmm.
it my way, and she did it her way, and it's always been a beautiful, beautiful blend.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it in pure love, because I love this couple to begin with, and then
Mm-hmm.
l- felt the guy that committed suicide. I loved because he was part of this horse group our daughter was with. But when
Mm-hmm.
we were leaving and hugging one another, that pure love,
Mm-hmm.
a dragonfly showed up. Two dragonflies showed up.
Mm-hmm.
100 dragonflies showed up. Several hundred dragonflies. And this pure
Wow.
love attracts entities, attracts, like I said, the four elements, attracts the critters.
Yeah.
And by the time we got into the little car called Glory to go home, they surrounded the whole car like you would see a nest of bees, but it was dragonflies. And I went real slow out the driveway and then down the road, and then I had to speed up to leave. They were cleansing us with it was pure love. All of them
Wow.
was pure, pure love. And
Mm.
last year, towards the end of their cycle, about 15, 20 dragonflies came to me on the back deck of oneness. That's what I call our back deck, the back deck. And it's so beautiful. There's nothing to block the view, the sunsets. And they came
Mhm,
close to me and they were
mhm,
talking to me.
mhm.
They were loving on me. Anyway, they left for about 10 minutes and they came back with 30 or 40 more and loving on me. And that's why I say creation is attracted to pure love. Hummingbirds,
Yes.
we feed the
Mm.
hummingbirds during
Yeah.
their season here.
Yeah.
I've had them fly in my ear, and I hear like your cat
Mm.
purring in your
Mhm.
ear.
Yeah,
I've had them
yeah.
flapping, that noise they make with their wings.
Oh, that close to your ear?
Oh yes, they've come and
Mm.
right here on me, and
Wow.
I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people. A few years ago, we were out on our front deck painting it, staining it,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I was laying down to get in the cracks, and this big old praying mantis, a walking stick, some people call it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're probably that long,
Really?
came up to me. So I'm leaning like this, and this thing comes up to me and starts communicating, which I'm used to that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was pure love. So
Mm.
pure
Hmm.
love
Hmm.
comes from many, many different energies and entities.
Hmm.
Before we started, I asked the entities and energies of the West and the North and the East and the
Mm.
South to be with us, and
Okay.
the Mama Earth and her children and the create. Oh, it's just it's every day is a mystical day in pure love for me. It really is.
It's quite palpable. I can
Yes.
tell that you called on energies because yeah, yeah, it's quite, and I know that this will translate to, I know that whoever is meant to see this, and you know who you are, is going to be watching this.
Oh,
So I'm looking forward. Let's set an intention that lots of people will see this because I think this will be great on the channel. I just love hearing your story. Um, Tell me, now you talk about these, you have groups that you meet together with people. I want to join one of your groups, I think. Do you have like loving groups? Like, is this kind of similar to the Circle of Eight that we hear Lynn McTaggart talk about, where you send healing energies? I don't know if you're familiar with the Circle of Eight. It's like a metaphysical book. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but it's the
no.
idea of a group of people combining, the idea where two or
Mhm.
three or more are gathered. It's like it increases the energy. Is that what you do? You have you weekly meetings with people or something?
As need be basis, I still meet with some men live. Like that's my favorite way to be in front
Oh,
of
okay.
people with their energies. I still do
Yes.
that. But last
Hmm.
night, here's when it happens occasionally. I
Hmm.
have three friends involved in, they're all teachers of Reiki. And the one for my male friend, he had a incredible YouTube channel a few years ago called Engage Reiki.
Hmm.
So there was a lady who lost her adult son, and we
Hmm.
were going to come
Hmm.
together and send energies out. They do it their
Hmm.
way. I do it the Rev's way.
Hmm.
And you could see doors open, the love, because he
Hmm.
wanted me to start it, open it up with what I wanted to
Hmm.
share. And of course, it was about pure
Hmm.
love. And
Hmm.
I call him the Kevin, he was glowing after this. They
I
all were
believe you.
touched, not by Rev, but by the presence of this energy flowing that
Yeah.
we all were sending to this
Yes.
lady of losing it.
Yeah.
Very powerful. I was starting to I was getting teary eyed because of the
Yeah.
energy that
Yeah.
were
Yeah. Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it's not you, it's not me, it's just it's like we allow ourselves to be an open conduit, like a channel, right?
Correct.
That's how I feel when I'm doing my emotion code sessions with clients. I feel it's very humbling because if I were to do it from my humanness, not that I'm denying my humanness, but that would be a disaster. The reason I get good results with clients is not because of me. It's because I'm just open to allow myself to be used as an instrument of thy peace. I kind of say that to kind of like Wayne Dyer used to say, make me an instrument of thy peace,
At peace. Yes.
thy peace. And so it's like allowing oneself to be a vessel for the divine to come through. That's what causes the shifts, right? The
Yes.
energetic shifts. It's nothing to do with me. I'm simply a facilitator and help people, shift themselves, really. Actually, I'm helping people shift themselves. I'm just a facilitator of that because some people are very attached to their issues. I'm not attached to their issues, so they hire me to sort of be a conduit to clear out some of those trapped negative emotions. And of course, when these trapped negative emotions are cleared out, their vibration naturally rises and then the shifts occur. I'm just humbled and grateful. And so I know what you mean. It's not you or it's not me. Well, it's kind of all of us, but it's really allowing ourselves to be used as an open vessel for the divine to go through. Would you
Yes.
agree?
Yeah, 110%. Maybe
110%. Yes.
120%. Yes,
There you
very much so.
go.
Yes, very
Exactly.
much so.
Off the charts. Off the
Yes.
charts. There you go. Very, very good. Okay, well, now did you I want people to be able to find you. So do you have a website you can share with us or do you just want people to go to your YouTube channel? What would you like? We'll put that underneath in the show notes and put it underneath the window here on the screen.
The Rev Ned Cosmic Interconnections is a Facebook page and the YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And um, it is part of a Facebook, but when I first started this up, what, 4 or 5 years ago, I
Hmm.
made it private. Now I can't change it. So we created the
Okay.
old Hermit on the Hill
Hmm.
Facebook.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that would be three places just using those
Very
words.
good.
The old Hermit on the Hill and RevNed Cosmic Interconnections. I have to share this. The
Okay.
name Rev, I am ordained.
Yeah.
I've done funerals and marriages
Hmm.
and those kind of things. When I was
Yeah.
out at that Sundance that I was telling you about on my leg,
Yeah.
and I'm not a big TV movie, but never been, even as a kid,
Okay.
movie or
Okay.
TV. So they
Yeah.
gathered around one night after the dance because they danced like for hours on end, supposedly from
Okay.
sun up to sundown. And they
Right.
were all gathered around. I think this was after my knee was healed, and they knew my knee was healed by eating the hail, the little hail balls. And they were sweet.
Hmm.
And this one lady called me, um, we're going to call you Ned because that's not my
Hmm.
real name. I said,
Okay.
Ned? Yeah, that guy on The Simpsons, Ned
Oh,
Flanders.
okay.
Ned
Ned
Flanders, the
Flanders. Oh, okay. On The Simpsons. Okay.
so that's how that started. I had no idea. They were belly laughing in a good way. They weren't making fun of me.
Yeah.
They just,
No.
but they were telling me it wasn't
No.
like an official native name. It wasn't anything like that, and it
Right.
stuck. And then they added the Rev to it, and that's how. So it actually came from some, I could say Lakota energies that name did, which
Okay. So, interesting. So, Rev Ned. I like it
hmm,
though. The first time I heard it, it just kind of clicks.
oh,
Kind of just
thank
rolls
you.
off the tongue. Yeah, there we go. Rev
So
Ned.
it's been a
Perfect.
joy to be with you, Dale,
Oh,
and with
it's
everyone
been a
out
joy to be
there.
with you. What's that?
Beautiful
Oh, thank
energies to everybody that's
you. Yeah,
watching and listening to this.
everybody. Yes,
Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful energies.
Yeah, we hold Rev Ned and I both hold the positive intention that whoever this is meant to reach, whoever this particular podcast is meant to touch, you will somehow be directed to this podcast, to this particular episode at least to this.
Yes,
Feel
yes.
free to check out the other episodes, of course, too. Shameless plug, but yeah. So thank you so much, RevNet. If there's one last golden nugget that you could leave with the viewers, what would it be, or the listeners? Because this is an audio and video podcast. To the
Something,
listeners and viewers, what would it be? The audience, what would it
well,
be?
part of it we touched on early on how how sacred we are. We're sacred beings.
Yes.
Every breath, I've taught this for so long, every breath is sacred, every step is sacred. And we are amazing beings of the more. And a lot of times I'll put with the mystical more because life is
Mm-hmm.
so mystical and we can
Mm-hmm.
get so weighted down with all the fear, the negativity,
Mm.
which the institutions like to be vessels for fear.
Yeah, I noticed that.
They
Yes.
like to be that.
Yeah.
But moving in these energies, as I said, is pure love. It's amazing of how powerful, loving, compassionate, forgiving, tranquility that comes and the cleansing.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
really does. And stepping
Yep.
into that and learning to love yourself unconditionally, who you
Conditionally.
are,
Yep.
and transforming these heart thoughts and these head thoughts into the pure
Yes.
love. So
Yep.
every day for Rev is a gift. And that's with the good, the bad, the pretty, and the ugly,
Yep.
and so many
Yep.
things going on around the earth
Yep.
that aren't good. That I send love out to that. Pure
Send
love
love.
to
Yeah.
and it does make a difference. It does.
Oh
And it's a
yeah.
choice. It's a
Yeah.
choice. We
Yeah.
have that choice.
We do. We do. Oh, thank you so much, Rev Ned. I really appreciate you being on the show today.
You're welcome.
This has been a real blessing. And when I don't know if you've studied much about quantum physics, but we know from quantum physics that by holding a high level vibration of pure love, that affects every atom in the universe. That's like uplifting the whole planet.
Yes.
That's like because is there not a chain reaction that occurs when we do one random act of kindness? I love the idea of random acts of kindness where you don't tell people what you did because that's egoic, whatever. Nothing wrong with the ego, but we don't want to like the dark side of the ego, which is bragging, like, look at me, I did this. No, you don't even tell anybody you did it. But for example, going through a drive-through, it happened to me one day. I got to the drive-through window for a milkshake and they said, well, you don't need to pay for it. I said, huh? They said, do you see that car behind you? Yeah, I don't know who that is. They paid for you. Have a nice day. That's like a random act of kindness. Now,
Yes.
I'll never see those people. So there's no negative side of ego involved in this, or zero, right? Nobody knows them. I don't know them. They didn't expect a thank you, but they know that we're all one. We're all connected. And it's just what goes around comes around. And you send out, not that you need to expect it to come back to you, but we know that when you uplift, you're really uplifting yourself, because everyone has God within them. If you see God, one thing that I want to do is I want to see God in everyone I meet, whether it's the homeless person or the rich person, that's all God. There's no separation. Everything is one. They're just as precious. They're just as beautiful. Everybody is beautiful. And this is the message I share with you, I know. Uh, and then yes.
Can I share one more thing?
Please.
This is amazing. This was in the meadow that I've talked about before. We were having
Okay.
a Navajo bear ceremony. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I
Okay.
had married our daughter Hannah and Matt that I referred to earlier.
Oh, that's nice.
In a big, big wedding, I don't know, 14 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
at this bear ceremony, I was asked by the Navajo guy if I could
Yep.
marry them in a bear ceremony. And I said, sure, sure. So he had his altar set up. I had my altar set up, and I was over there waiting to do the ceremony. And
Mm-hmm.
I asked the Palladian people because I knew where the Pleiades were that night. We're in a
Oh,
meadow, no lights, no city, nothing, dark, 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 dark. And I
yeah.
asked them to bring their love, which I've experienced, and other which I haven't shared. And all
Okay.
when I got up to get to by the fire, the sacred fire that we build in a very special way, this tube from another world came down and covered those two people. It was pure love. They could hear me, I could hear them. I wasn't in it. The other Navajo
Oh.
guy was not in it, and we had a few
Mm-hmm.
other extra people there helping us out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's amazing how far pure love goes out and attracts
Yeah.
these energies. It was like there's no word to describe it except
No.
it was clear and powerful and just whoop, pure love, whoop, pure love, whoop. And it was probably one of the most incredible weddings that I was a part of.
Well, no kidding. Did you say
Y-
a tube descended?
Yes. From the
Okay.
area where the Pleiades were. That's how we
Yeah.
saw it. I wasn't the only one that saw it or
Yeah,
experienced
that's
it.
what I was going to ask you. Was this a shared experience?
Yes.
Obviously, it was. So you
Yes.
saw it. What about the ones that were in the tube? Hannah, your daughter, did they see it?
Yes. They felt it.
Oh,
They could
they
feel it.
felt it.
The pure love. And it
That's
was just
incredible.
like and it was being around that pure love in all these different areas, it was incredible the love because it inspired us to be even more vessels for the pure love. And it
So it
was
seems like it expresses itself in so many different ways.
yes, it does.
The love. Like
Yes.
I think you're a living example of this because you've had all of these mystical experiences with elements and so on and so forth, and you've seen the various ways that love expresses itself. Mind you, we could see
Yes.
everything is love, right?
Yes.
We could say that. So, well, this has been a true loving interview, and I'd love to have you back for a part two sometime because I feel that you've just scratched the surface of pure love. Am I right?
Correct. Correct. Very
Are
much
you
so.
open?
Yes.
Are you open
Oh,
for that at
heck
some
yes.
point?
Heck yes, to be with you and the people
To be with you and
taking this
everybody.
in. It'd be a
Yeah, yeah,
gift.
yeah.
Another
This
gift.
is It is. Well, you're a gift to this channel because that's the reason Soul Inspire, which is the name of the channel. Are you subscribed? You got to I've
I
subscribed to
think
your
so.
channel. You can subscribe if you want. I'm sure you want to. The Soul Inspire, the whole purpose behind this channel was to communicate pure love. Full stop. Full stop. That's what this channel is. So thank you so much because you've played a big part in that today
You're
in this
welcome.
episode.
You're welcome.
And that's it for another edition of Soul Inspire. See you next time. The Soul Inspire podcast is brought to you by DaleCross.net. Discover the freedom, bliss, and ecstasy within you. At DaleCross.net, I can help connect you with your soul's purpose, passion, and mission. Your soul signed up for something great. Discover what it is with the tools I offer. Book a free one-on-one consultation now at dalecross.net and live your greatness.